And welcome to Time to Be Reasonable. And got a couple things to discuss today. Oh, I got to turn off the fan. There we go. Should be off in a minute. It's for the computer, not for me. I mean, it's I every phone I look at says 45. I don't know what the actual temperature is. Feels to me like it's about feels a little bit under or a little bit over, you know, like 30 or 29 in that area. So 45 seems reasonable. But I do have the anemia, so it's hard to say. I think I wrecked my glasses and I really notice it looking on the thing. But had a couple things I was going to discuss, and most of it kind of playful. Not playful, but, more just thinking than. One thing is that there's been a weird thing within the party, or I guess the Facebook groups that I follow that represent the party. I still hope that there's just a plethora of real libertarians out there that are nothing like the folks that are on the Facebook or the Twitter. But I don't know. Anyway, I wonder if there's a lot of people that seem to have a hero worship for Elon Musk. And the thing is that I look at with something like that is, you had some characters in Atlas Shrugged like Gail Wyman, and Gail Wyman, like, I think was actually interesting in some ways because he was a hypocrite, but he was interesting. I know he was a bad guy, but I did find him interesting for some reasons. And but you had some other ones. I can't remember, like the one that was the head of the oil consortium. Some of those type of characters. And I got to say, like, if you're sitting there thinking that Elon Musk is Francisco Diacona or Reardon or somebody like that, you know, he didn't invent the Tesla. He stole the Tesla, which, somebody developed it, and he came in and basically through marketing and such took over the company and then took the guy's car. Um, and then, PayPal. I don't know how to, like, if he did invent it, that's fine. But I mean, I think it's pretty horrible, really. And a space company is basically they're listening to exactly what the government wants to meet the regulations and such. So all you have to do is read the books to follow the things and hire the right people. I mean, I'm not saying he's necessarily like, I'm just saying he's not a producer along the same lines as the three men that I mentioned, or definitely not, he's no John Galt. That's for sure. Um, he built up his empire by having emeralds that his family somehow cajoled out of the folks that lived there. So basically, blood emeralds. Since most of the jewels that are come from Africa involve some kind of a slave trade or something like that. And if that's not a big thing to you, that's fine. But I mean, that's he. Basically, my point being is he didn't just get his money by creating a by creating an empire or something like that. Um, Now you could look at it and say Dagny Taggart didn't either. So I mean that's a thing. And if you don't know who these characters are, they're in Atlas Shrugged, Ayn Rand, and basically they're pretty good blueprints for people that are producers, But Taggart didn't start out with her own money either, but she ran the Transcontinental Railroad. Maybe it wasn't I don't know what the name of the railroad company was. I want to say Transcontinental, but that might be wrong. That might just be the normal railroad during the 1800s or something like that. Anyway, the point is a lot of these folks that we tend to try and mold into these and I know that there's probably might be good versions of producers and other books that I haven't read, and if that's the case, feel free to comment. That's fine. But that's like as far as looking at it from a bunch of folks that are mainly libertarian, following these people and thinking that they're amazing. I think sometimes when we see things and we're like, well, this is the ideal that we're going for, and so this person must be a producer because they're doing well, but they still may not meet that criteria. Alan Greenspan, might have been a great economics, but we all know, or maybe we don't know, that he was an objectivist who turned his back on it and became something very similar to Statler in Atlas Shrugged. Somebody who knew that what he was knew and believes what he was doing was wrong, but did it anyway because reasons. I don't know what his reasons are, quite frankly. But I think that it is kind of easy sometimes to take that cookie cutter and be like, well, everybody's against this guy, so obviously I must be for him. And that's kind of silly. It's just like the same idea with Trump. I don't think that Trump is anywhere near, has any of the qualities of a man that you would want to follow. And I understand that everybody wants to have these heroes. I would love to have, some people that were like that, but so far I haven't seen them. And remember, don't be too much like John Galt, because he was kind of rapey, and that was weird. But yeah, that's a thing. Anyway, I just thought I would see that. After I watched Adam Conover's video, and you could be like, oh, well, he's a Democrat, or he's a this, or he's a that. Well, that doesn't change the facts of the thing. If anybody from anywhere outside of your tribal of the tribe that you identify with can give you information that's new and different and be of value. I'm going to take my glasses off for a minute because it's just bugging me and it doesn't really help me see the screen or anything. So I just wanted to talk about that because I've noticed that that's been coming up a lot, and people that are just really upset because, well, how can you say anything about Elon? It's like, well, you can say something about Elon because He's not the gold standard or anything like that. And we all have the ability to judge and the right to judge and discern and figure out something for ourselves if we have the information. And dragging down other people doesn't make us more right. Just something to remind everybody. I wish I had some marbles, because I was kind of thinking about this today, and I was thinking about how exactly it is. Like, I've never had anybody argue against this, because I made this point before, and I'll make the point again. I don't think I'm a small L libertarian. I don't even think I'm an objectivist anymore necessarily. I'm not really sure what I am, but I know that I'm closer to a libertarian than I am to a Republican or a Democrat. Well, definitely what a libertarian was. I don't know if these new folks are in the party and permanently changed the demographic to what they think a libertarian is, then I'm out. But I'll fight for the party first. But I mean, if the majority is so bad that it's just not attainable, then I'm out, because I just wouldn't hang around with people like that, because I just don't agree with them. But as far as what the libertarian or also known the liberal, or the old school liberal, or I'm trying to remember what that's called, and I just looked at it too. But anyway, I think that a liberal, the original libertarian, in other words, socially liberal and economically conservative, is pretty much what I've always been, or what I've always followed and thought was close to kind of what I believe. But I don't really believe, like I said, I don't really want to dismantle the school system or stop healthcare, mainly because I need healthcare right now. So it's kind of a thing where, because the reality is, even if I had a family doctor, he wouldn't, family doctors have never been responsible for something like dialysis. That's always been up the chain kind of a thing. So, and it's something that I have to have. It's not something that I can just live without. So if I just didn't have, right now, the way that the system works, I'm not really able to earn any money, and I'm not and I couldn't possibly afford the dialysis treatments. So I have no choice but to work within that system. And some people will be like, well, you just make me do it. It's like, well, I'm not going to die, and if that makes me a hypocrite, I can live with it. I don't know what else to do. I mean, it's like, it's a situation where this is a big situation that can only be fixed with this method. This method is ungodly costly. If that can be brought down, if there's ways that you could show me how that would work, I would be okay with it. But understand that I'm in this situation where I kind of do have to be under this situation, this government welfare, and at the same time, healthcare. And I don't know what else to say about it, because I understand it. It doesn't seem very libertarian, but at the same time, um, I have to preserve myself, and I'm not in I'm not in a situation in my mind where I can not preserve myself for philosophical reasons. And maybe that makes me a coward, and I'll admit that. Um, but I never had anybody go at me when I really told them, "Hey, this is where I am." So I got to say that's good. So I haven't had anybody do that. I did have uh, someone who's, I guess, in around the party, but I haven't heard from in a long time. This guy Tony, who I knew from LARP, who was part of the party and had said some things because I had said that I had some problems with my teeth and I had to do something about it because the pain was unbearable. And oddly enough, it's possible that that same tooth pain may have caused this kidney failure, which kind of reminds me of I can't think of who was responsible for the Natural Law Party. Was it Hagelin? No, I don't know. But from the Natural Law Party said that what we have to do is work on preventive care, because preventive care would make it so that this is a much better situation. So it definitely has some merits. Also, I was listening to Penn Sunday School as he talked in front of the Skeptics Society, and he was discussing the merits of, or he was discussing being a libertarian, and that he didn't really like associating with folks that thought that not taking responsibility for your actions. In other words, if you're sick, you put on a mask to make sure that other people don't get sick. You don't say, well, it's up to you to protect yourself. It's not my problem, because that's not libertarian, and that's not a very reasonable way of acting. And my dad always told me to be responsible, and that made a lot of sense to me. That you're responsible for your actions, and you can't just put them onto other people and say, well, it's just like the old thing of a kid like swinging his fist and saying, I'm not hitting you, but if you don't move, that's on you, which is exactly really the policy that the party has brought forth with the vaccination, or not vaccination, but with the masks. It's like, if you don't want to get sick, then it's your job to protect yourself, not my job, if I might be a carrier, to protect society, because that's not my responsibility. That is a total cop out. And if you have it in other excuses or something like that, then that's your legitimate reason or whatever. But the reality is you have a responsibility, if you could possibly be a carrier, to both make it so that you are not a carrier, and to make sure that you do not spread the disease. I actually can't believe I have to explain that to people that say that they're for being reasonable and rational and integrity and all those things. But I thought that was actually a really good point. And then he was also talking about that kind of a a community inclusivity, which I don't really, I'm not completely into, but I gotta say that people that have been talking crap about Penn Jillette, who I've heard, I've seen in the things, even though Penn Jillette is more honest, has more integrity, has done more towards the party and reasonable rationality than most of these people. Uh, I'm pretty surprised by that sometimes. Um, and I would definitely say that he has way more value to me than most of you do. And there's people that are working in the party that are not given a lot of respect just because of things like that. They're like a left wing libertarian. Like I really like some of the work that I see Aaron Goss is doing, and he's getting some of the word out and helping out candidates and encouraging people to read, different books to educate themselves. I think that's good. I don't know how much he's reading on the other side, but that's okay. Um, he is encouraging reading, and that's not a bad thing. Also, I wanted to touch on. I had an idea now. I can't remember. Oh, that's right. This week, um, somebody posted on Twitter a post, something to do with that these people, like something where it's like there's some homosexuals or groomers or something like that, and then but not all are, or not all libertarian homosexuals or groomers. I don't know what exactly happened, but I know that for whatever reason, Angela decided that it was a good idea to put this stuff up. I'm sorry, I guess I should say Angela McArdle, the chair of the Libertarian Party, or no, the chair of the National Committee. And seemed a little ridiculous to me. I think it's obvious that, it's just to be easier to say we know that, not all are this, or why even figure into this, or I don't know. I think to imply that is terrible, really. More and more, it seems more important. These things that are more moral questions than we're talking about the things that we used to discuss in mass. Those things being the that the duopoly is it's the same side of the is the two sides of the same coin. I think there's some people. I think a lot of people still are good at arguing against endless wars and victimless crimes. But I think that there is definitely some weird, questionable morality lurking about. I think sometimes it's questions, and we have to see them as questions. If that's more the moral answer, where it's not necessarily a absolute answer, but it's we have this question and this question. You have, like with abortion, there's the idea of, are you enslaving the woman to carry the child to term, or are you committing murder? You have two different things, and both of them are moral questions, and they have levels to them depending on how you see it. And sometimes I think you just need to leave it at that. You don't need to say that obviously this is higher than this, just, out of whole cloth, because it's not really provable. I don't know. I sometimes see some really knockout, drag out fights in these Facebook groups, and I kind of wonder how we can answer that, where we're just not tearing into each other all the time and talking to each other like just in a way that's just, you should never talk to anybody. I've said things and just had somebody just turn on me like that and talk to me in a way that I would not talk to the lowest scum on earth. And I am tired of it. And I'm not going to talk to you like that. So that's why when I see something, I'll just ask maybe a couple questions and let it go, because quite frankly, I'm not going to just become a bottom feeder and insult people just to make my point. Because I think that is a type of force. It's definitely not valuable to the party, because I don't think making people feel less than they are is of value. And I don't know. Anyway, didn't have a real subject today as much, but just thought I would discuss a couple things. I'm going to talk to you all next Friday, and hopefully it'll be warmer. What is next Friday? Let's see. Make sure. Yeah, next Friday is going to be fine. I'll come up and say some things. The 23rd might be a little different. We'll see. Good night. Surrounds in the calm, well, it stands at her feet.